Some people are untouchable to narcissists. They can't be guilted, gaslit, or pulled into drama, and narcissists know it. That's why they walk right past them and go looking for someone else. I've spent the last 20 years studying self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and survivor, I teach clear, practical systems that show you exactly how to stop manipulation in its tracks. Narcissists test everyone, but not everyone takes the bait. There are 3 types of people who always stop the manipulation before it starts, often without even realizing it. If you're exhausted from over-explaining, trying to keep the peace, or wondering how to stay safe, this video will show you why and how to stop it. Narcissists are drawn to people who are easy to gaslight, people whose idea of truth is flexible, bendable, or easily swayed by charm, guilt, or pressure. Real truth isn't flexible. Truth and reality are the same thing. They don't move. They exist whether anyone believes them or not. You can agree with reality or argue with it, but you can't change it. The problem is, when you've had to keep the peace or adapt to survive, your sense of truth becomes relational. It shifts depending on who you're with and what keeps things calm. So over time, truth starts to mean whatever prevents conflict. And that's what makes it bendable. And that's exactly what a narcissist looks for. Because a narcissist lives inside a fantasy where they're wonderful or powerful or special or deeply wounded, and they need you to live in that fantasy too. So they're looking for people who aren't bound to reality. They test for this by bending truth in small ways and watching what you do. They might say, "You remember I told you," when they didn't. Or they might tag on "right" to pull you into an agreement. They'll throw in praise to see if you'll trade truth for approval and glance at your face to read your reaction. So every test is the same. They're lying, sometimes slightly, sometimes outright, to see if you're going to go along with it. So let's slow this down because it happens fast. The moment they do this, they're basically making you choose me or the truth. And before you register it, you're going to feel this quick rush of fear. The fear of disapproval, the fear of losing connection, or the fear of being seen as difficult. It's subtle but powerful, and it makes you hesitate. Are you going to go along to get along, or risk rejection, scorn, or shame? And that tiny pause, that split second of self-correction is exactly what the narcissist is looking for. By the way, if you want help assessing the level of risk you're dealing with, I've created a free narcissist protection checklist. It's quick, powerful, and there's a link in the description below. So to be a truth teller takes courage because you have to lean into fear. You have to be willing to risk being disliked or misunderstood. You have to see truth as more important than approval. When you do this, something powerful happens. You see that flash of fear is just a manufactured manipulation. It's coming from them, and you don't have to accept it. You can feel the exact moment you're being pulled out of what's real and into their version of events. You'll notice how each little lie or each exaggeration, each twist of the story comes with an unspoken invitation. Agree with me and we'll stay connected. Truth tellers feel this trap and they simply don't fall into it. And narcissists hate that. Narcissists are drawn to people who check outside themselves before they check inside themselves. It doesn't mean you can't think for yourself. It means the order is reversed. So you take in what they think, what they feel, or what they expect first, and then you adjust yourself around that. The independent thinker does exactly the opposite. They start with what they think and feel, and then decide how or even if the other people fit into that. So when you check outside yourself first, your point of view is always moving. It shifts depending on who you're with or what the situation is calling for. And that means you're not actually leading with your own perspective. You're playing defense instead of offense. So you're reacting to everyone else's moves instead of making your own. It's not that you don't have opinions or values, it's that they get rearranged to keep things smooth. And that's what makes you easy for a narcissist to influence. Without a unique point of view, their perspective starts to feel like the default, and before long, you're thinking through their lens instead of your own. And that's why narcissists look for people with a movable point of view, because they want to be the center of their own universe and the center of your universe. They're not looking for someone who thinks for themselves. They're looking for someone to think around them. So every time you check with them first, you're reorienting your world to orbit around theirs. So when you're used to watching everyone first, it's exhausting. It's like being wired into the entire room. Every tone, every glance, every shift in the mood, your mind takes in everything at once, scanning for cues. Do they like me? Am I saying this right? What do they need from me? It's this flood of information, and it all is pointing outward, and you're trying to translate who you need to become in real time. Your thinking space gets so full of other people that there's barely any room left for you. So becoming an independent thinker means reversing that. It's not about thinking harder, it's about thinking less. And it's about pulling your attention back from the noise out here and checking in with yourself first. What do I believe? What matters to me? What's right for me here? That takes strength, and it takes knowing yourself well enough to recognize your own point of view when everything around you is demanding that you abandon it. This moment, when you start to lose your own point of view, is the one I wanted to solve. So I built something to help. It's part of my unmanipulatable 5-day training built from 25 years of work with clients, classes, and books. Rather than explaining it, let me show you how it works. Let's say you're going to go on a date and you know you tend to absorb other people's opinions or energy, especially if you want them to like you. So I drop that into the tool, and it helps me check in with myself before the conversation even starts, to anchor back into my own values, beliefs, and perspective. When I was dating again after divorcing a narcissist, I did not know who to trust. I could not even trust myself. So I wish I'd had this back then, a trusted advisor in my pocket, knowing that I could sneak off to the bathroom and ask a few questions, get real answers, and walk back out grounded again, like myself again. Oh, that would have been amazing. You can use this anywhere, before a date, in a business meeting, even at a family gathering, anytime you need to check back in with yourself. And what I love most about this is how quickly it finds what you actually need. I only had to ask it 3 questions, and it gave me the same kind of advice I've given hundreds of clients. Stop wondering, does he like me? And start asking, do I like him? How do I feel in his presence? This is just one of the many tools I built into this training, and you can find the training for full price on my website, or if you want a sneaky discount, you can grab the Narcissist Protection Checklist below, and I'll send you an insider rate straight to your inbox. Narcissists are drawn to people who assume the best in everyone. People who will easily explain away bad behavior or soften the sharp edges or always try to find the good in someone who's even showing you the truth of who they are. That reflex might come from compassion, from your upbringing, or from survival. But when it's automatic, it becomes dangerous. If you're face to face with a predator and you keep trying to keep the peace or assume that he means well and sacrifice yourself to smooth things over, that doesn't protect you. It just makes you an easy target, and narcissists count on that. They look for the person who will downplay what's happening, who feels the sting but tells themselves he didn't mean it or it's not worth making a scene. And every time you explain it away, you teach them that you'll protect their comfort over your own safety. So they test for this in small ways: a rude comment disguised as humor, or a boundary push, or a guilt trip, something that stings but can be excused if you want to keep believing the best. They're watching to see if you'll name it or minimize it. And if you minimize it, they know they can do it again. The heart of the contrarian is simple. It's the willingness to disrupt harmony, stay skeptical, and refuse to compromise your well-being, just to keep others happy. It's the part of you that's willing to make things uncomfortable when comfort comes at your expense. It's not about arguing or proving a point. It's about protecting yourself from people who count on your silence, your politeness, or your need to be liked. The word contrarian usually describes an investor, someone who doesn't follow the crowd. So when everybody else is buying, they hold back. Or when everybody else is selling, they're looking at it closer. They don't go along with momentum, they question it. And that's exactly what this person, the contrarian, does here. You don't rush to agree, you don't rush to believe or to join up. You pause, you think, and you decide for yourself. You resist the pressure to think positive, to smooth things over, or to keep the peace at your own expense. While everyone else is trying to fit in, you're checking for what's real. Narcissists want you to be compulsive. They're looking for people who jump to attention the second something feels off. They're looking for someone whose mind starts scanning for what to do about it. If someone's upset, they try to fix it, or if someone's cold or distant, they try to win them back. If someone's crossing a line, they try to make it okay. They're looking for someone whose body can't rest until that tension is gone. This is the person who fills the silence, smooths the edges, and talks yourself into calm again. It feels like relief in the moment, but it's really self-abandonment dressed up as peacekeeping. So being a contrarian breaks that pattern. It's not compulsive, it's deliberate. You don't rush to repair or rescue. You wait and watch. When someone's behavior shifts, you stay long enough to see what they're actually doing. When someone guilt trips, provokes, or pressures, you don't explain, you observe. You let them reveal their motive instead of filling in the blanks for them. And that stillness exposes manipulation faster than any confrontation ever could. Narcissists can't stand it because without your reaction, they lose leverage. The truth teller, the independent thinker, or the contrarian aren't special types of people. They're special ways of thinking that anybody can learn. So once you start seeing what's real, thinking for yourself, and staying skeptical of what doesn't add up, manipulation has nowhere to go. Thanks for watching. YouTube thinks you're going to like this video on screen right here. Yep, that's the one. Click it to learn even more about spotting narcissists and protecting yourself against manipulation. Okay, I'll see you over there. Bye.